everything will have an Apple. So there's one that.
Yeah.
only have another for us.
No.
Or a Mac, whatever they call it anymore, right? iPads or. I don't have one of those. Okay. Nice. Thank you.
Challenge you from paper to
We'll get the
electronic stuff.
Think of all the trees you're saving out there, all the happy forests.
Like one tree, right?
Yeah.
Today's packet was big.
Your trust.
We had some scope creep on the packet, so it just kept growing.
Yeah.
But there's a reason.
We say the email was like this page and now it's like 10 pages.
She did a good job though, because you're reading it, you can just kind of tilt your head this way for a while. This way for a while. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. Stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and with that, everyone, welcome to our October City Council meeting. It is being recorded and broadcast live on YouTube, so hopefully individuals will watch it later or they're online and getting to enjoy it now. Before we move on, city councilors, is there any consent agenda topics you would like pulled out for regular discussion? We have 4 topics in there right now. And I'll just look around for a nod if there is any. Okay, we'll keep the consent agenda as stated in the agenda. Okay, the first one, agenda will be a public hearing on the supplemental budget for fiscal year 2025-26. So with that, I would like to open the public hearing. It is currently 6:31 p.m. And with that, I'll hand it over to the presentation by the city administrator.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. Supplemental one budget adjusts the adopted fiscal year 25-26 budget as follows. The interfund loan repayment. So repayment of the interfund loan from the general fund to the ARPA fund that was made at the end of last fiscal year to cover expenditures related to the Marion County ARPA allocation. Transfer of sewer funds. Last fiscal year, staff closed out the sewer bond fund. The remaining balance was transferred to the general fund as required by the resolution that was signed when the sewer bond fund was first implemented. Earlier in the fiscal year, council directed staff to move funds into the sewer utility fund through a formal transfer. The reserve fund adjustment adjusts reflecting an invoice that came in late last fiscal year. So I'm adjusting the expenditure appropriation in the reserve fund. And then also this supplemental budget, there was a grant that council approved last fiscal year, late in the fiscal year from Business Oregon for design work associated with our wastewater treatment plant project. And also the legislative funding appropriation late in the fiscal year of approximately 2.4 million. The supplemental budget provides the budget authority for us to start spending that money. And that concludes my presentation. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Yeah, and that would be the next topic, right? Questions and discussions by council. Any questions or discussion by council? You don't need to say your names. You can just raise your hand if you've got anything. I mean, this is pretty straightforward to me. So I've got no discussion. We're just making sure the books are straight and clean. And I appreciate Sean's continued attention to detail in this. So if there's no questions or discussion by council, we'll ask the public if there's any comments or questions from the public. I guess, what you prepped, like, came up with a really tough question, like, can you explain that 84 cents? Okay, if there's no questions from the public, then we will go ahead and close and continue the public hearing. It is now 6:33. And with that, I would make a motion that we adopt resolution number 8302025, a resolution approving a supplemental budget for the fiscal year 2025-26 budget.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries or resolution carries or whatever. All right, next topic will be, discussion and motion to move November 11, 2025 city council meeting, and we'll hand that back over to Administrator Wait.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So the meeting on November 11th falls on Veterans Day. City Hall is closed that day. All city functions are closed. Staff is making a recommendation that we actually cancel the meeting rather than move it. The agenda items that we've identified are extremely light and can be postponed till December. But I wanted to leave that up to council for discussion.
So with that, I'll entertain discussion topics. I mean, don't smile too much over there, Pat. You're letting it show that you're happy to maybe get some time back in November.
Oh, and I will send out financials still, so you'll get those electronically. So those reports will still be sent out.
Perfect. Any concern or questions from you, Councilor Zadi?
No, I think we should cancel it.
Councilor Steininger?
Meetings are so important. I hate to take a day off, but I'll take one for the team.
Councilor Yodlin?
I think city staff should be able to handle at least 1 month on autopilot.
Councilor Michelle?
Actually, yeah, it's really loud. I kind of think maybe we should have a tentative date, just in case something comes up. It's a month away. And we know, I mean, I'm sure a month ago, this didn't look like this, or this one. So I don't know, it might be a good idea just to have something just in case. And then if we get to, November 1st and there's nothing there, then, boot it.
I can agree with that recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah, my expectation in all honesty is even if we cancel, well, we won't have it on November 11th, but we should probably assume there is a chance we have a special session. But with that, can we tentatively, if we do need to have one, have it the following Tuesday, or we have a planning meeting on that day?
We'll have a planning commission meeting that day.
Okay, could we do it on Wednesday, the 12th, if needed?
Yes.
Okay, does that work for everyone else? Yeah. Okay. Counselor, okay. So with that then, why don't I do this? I would like to make a motion that the November 11th city council meeting be tentatively rescheduled, or that would be the date of November 12th, I guess it's one day later. And on November 1st, City Hall can make a call, or City Administrator Wade can make a call then whether we're going to need that meeting or not.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. All right. So we're tentatively planned, we're gonna be on Tuesday or Wednesday, unless November 1st rolls around and Administrator Wade tells us that, nope, we're still looking good. Okay, with that, we're gonna move on to topic number 4, discussion and approval of the water and sewer rates, sorry. I'll hand this back over to Administrator Wade and Steve Donovan of Donovan Enterprises.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Council. Again, we've had a couple of work sessions at Town Hall to discuss proposed water rate increases. This is the final presentation for consideration of approval of the rate increases. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Donovan for further discussion on the water and wastewater rate study report.
At your September 30th meeting, we came to consensus on, or I should say the council came to consensus on water and sewer rates. Water at 5%, sewer at 6%. And before you tonight in your packets is my final report on the analysis of the rates and the rate study. This document would be important for you, especially over the next few years when you're, as a matter of fact, for the water loan that you're undertaking now. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the lending agency, the Oregon Economic Development Group, will want a copy of this as a requirement of the loan documents, because that's a subsidized loan. So that is an important piece of the documentation. Second are 2 resolutions in your packets tonight for your consideration. 832-2025 water and 833. Those are for the water and the sewer. Now, what's based on your direction, we've got 5% increases and 6% increases respectively starting on January 1st of 2026. And then 5% and 6% every year thereafter on January 1st through January 1, 2030. And Mayor, based on your guidance, you wanted to have an additional phrase in those resolutions that said every year thereafter, rates would be adjusted by at least the percent change, annual change in the consumer price index.
Yep.
And we put language in there for that. So staff recommends that you consider these two resolutions tonight for passage and pass them.
Okay, so open for discussion again. We'll flip the side this time and go to Councilor Pichelle. Any questions, concerns?
No questions, no concerns, really. I'm pretty happy with where we landed. I mean, nobody wants to pay more money at the end of the day, me included, but, you know, the numbers are much more palatable than where they were at the beginning. After we done some shuffling around, so I'm pretty comfortable with it where it's at.
Excellent. Councilor Donovan?
No, we've discussed this pretty well, and I do appreciate the inflation, the CPI increased every year. So that's all good for me.
Excellent. Councilor Steininger?
No, it's been a lot of work. I know we've tried to get as much word out as possible about it. So I'm glad we were able to keep it to this low of a percentage, honestly.
Excellent. Councilor Donovan?
Yeah, I think Mr. Donovan put a lot of work into it. I know that the original numbers were supposed to be a lot bigger. I think that we found a really, really good happy medium right where we're at, so I think it's a good start.
I have no further questions either. I would ask or direct though, city staff to please make sure in the next water bills, whatever we start the communication going out, that these rate increases are coming. And maybe put not just a percentage, but what the dollar amount would be. It's a little bit less shocking when you see it's like $1.50 as opposed to like 5%, which can be scary. Math can be difficult. With that, then I'll go ahead and be the bad guy and make the motion on this. So we're gonna have two on this one. I'm gonna make a motion that we pass resolution 8322025, a resolution approving amending water rates and repealing resolution 7132021.
I second that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. The language written here in the resolution is not the same as what you just said.
Is it the wrong number?
The resolution number of the repeal.
Yeah, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's right in the thing.
Oh, it is right in the agenda.
Yeah, the
Okay.
one that says 7132021 is right.
Okay,
The wrong one in here is 7752024.
okay, thank
Yep.
you.
There you go. Okay, again, we have a good catch though. Someone's reading. Well done. We have a motion. I had the motion. We have a second. All those in favor of this resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, that resolution shall pass. Next one, resolution 8332025, a resolution approving amending sewer rates and repealing resolution 7142021.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, and those two carry. Counselor Shaw, well done, catching that. Yes, but I do know that prior to, thank you. I was just, someone was reading your stuff. With that, we'll move on to the next one, other agency reports. So, Chief Carmen, I see you're online, so we'll go ahead and hand it over to you if you have an update for us today.
Yeah, I do have a small update. Can you guys hear me all right?
We can hear you perfectly.
All right, perfect. Well, in September, we ran 64 calls for service. Historically, we had 80 calls in September of 2024, so slightly lower. Probably had to do with a little cooler summer and fire season kind of wrapped up right around the end of September, very beginning of October. And I want to say we, through September 30th, we had ran 619 calls for the 2025 calendar year. And I want to say we're at 664 as of today. So we've had a pretty busy October so far, but it's been good. We've been doing some public education and outreach, our target has been going out and getting into the community. So we're hitting a couple of the football games and doing some fire prevention there. Our next one will be the following Friday and then October 31st. We will have Paint the Pumpkin at the fire station. And I have to look at what date that'll be. That'll be the 25th, I believe. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Families can come down. Tacos Perez will be there. We'll have some fire prevention messages. And First Student, who co-sponsors this event with us, will have pumpkins and paint for the kids to do up the pumpkins however they feel like doing. We have a lot of training. We have a few new members on, so we're getting them up to speed and getting them response ready so we can continue to keep the citizens safe. And then our fire inspection program is up and running. Our focus of September was getting the haunted house ready to go, making sure that it was safe. It does draw quite a large crowd of people throughout the month of October. So we just want to be prepared if there's an emergency, but want to prevent any fires or accidents that could happen in the meantime. Does the council have any questions for me?
Looking over on council, any questions for Chief Carmen?
What was the date of that again? 25th?
Yeah, let me look. I'm looking on my calendar here. Yeah, it's October 25th,
And the time again?
10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The only comment I have is thank you for continuing to do community events like that for the kids. It's absolutely fantastic. And, it's just amazing to see all of our first responders, whether it's at football games or doing bike rodeos or anything else out there and engaging with the community is just fantastic. So thank you, Chief.
You're welcome. We enjoy being part of the community.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we can give Chief Carmen the rest of the night off and we can continue on with our agenda. All right, thank you, Chief Carmen. Let's move on to discussion and approval of the IGA between the City of Hubbard and the City of Aurora for law enforcement services. So on this one specifically, I want to make sure that we have a chance. The IGA is in the packet, so hopefully everyone, I know Councilor Michelle probably read it, but I want to make sure everyone had a chance to look at it, review it, so we can ask questions. I think it's also going before the City Council in Aurora this evening, so it's kind of a simultaneous review. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Administrator Waite and probably Chief Parisi on kind of giving us an update.
Yeah, so the IGA in your packet actually mirrors the same IGA that we signed with the City of Donald for police services. The only significant change is associated with the Community Police Forum, in which in Donald's IGA, it says that they may have one, and the City of Aurora has asked to have one established. The members will be appointed through their city council and working with the police chief on that. Additionally, where the City of Donald, they pay a set amount for part-time service, basically. And Aurora will be reimbursing us for one full-time FTE plus startup costs associated with equipment and other things. And then they will also be paying $5,000 for the Metcom charge that we're going to receive for bringing on Aurora. And I'll turn it over to the chief for any additional comments.
Yeah, thank you, City Administrator Wade, Mayor and Council. We're really excited about this opportunity. The whole team supports it as well. And we've had a lot of great feedback from community members as well from Aurora that are looking forward to the partnership with our officers and the police department and the City of Hubbard and whatnot. So we're really excited. I covered this a little bit also in my chief's report, though. It's kind of exciting. We just ran a hiring process and we actually had 4 applicants who are certified, one of which was certifiable, but the other 3 were certified officers that want to come and join the team and serve as well these great communities and whatnot. So I'm pleased to announce that 7th position is actually in background. They've just actually turned their background packet in today, and that's been forwarded now to the background investigator as well. And so we're excited to be moving forward with that process to fill that position and keep on going.
Wonderful. And I see that the startup costs are the same as you were mentioning for the reserve program, so there's no surprise there. I mean, I've seen the IGA because I've been kind of engaged with you guys already. So it's really a chance for council members here to really ask any questions you might have as well. Without trying to gloss over anything, we'll start with Counselor Zadi. Do you have any additional questions or concerns?
Not this time now, thank you.
Yeah, Counselor Steiner?
I just wanted to make sure we are factoring in equipment costs and stuff with that full-time position, including like car and maintenance and all that goes into.
Not an actual, like, we're not purchasing a new car, but the maintenance and fuel is considered
It's all part
in
of it.
the cost, yep.
That'd be the only thing I want to make sure we're not overlooking. But yeah, sounds great.
Counselor Young?
I'm sure we're working with Donald pretty well. They seem to be pretty happy. So I assume there's gonna be times where we may have 3 officers on at a time, like Friday, Saturday nights, things like that. And so just make sure we have, appropriate coverage, and I'm sure you're on top of that, but that might be, one of my concerns is, we've got 3 cities and plus we do back up other agencies as well. So I just wanna make sure we have, coverage for our obligations. So. So that, I'm assuming that we're looking at that what do we have, 3 officers on at a time? Foreseeably?
It'll depend, but we could potentially have 3 or 4. I know the other night when we were at homecoming, we actually had on 5 officers. And so that we're able to, cover homecoming, and also any sort of calls for service that may have come up in Hubbard and Donald and whatnot, so.
Yeah, and if I might interject, though, we gotta be careful in terms of staffing levels and schedules. That's something that we don't usually discuss in an open meeting, but I agree with your concern that yes, our understanding is that our city will be covered as expected.
That's all I have, thank you.
Wonderful. Councilor Pichelle?
No questions, thanks.
The only other comments I'd like to point out, though, is this is actually a fantastic opportunity for our police department, I guess the HDAPP. I'm never gonna get used to that. But that in conjunction with our contract with the North Marion School District allows our police department, and when I say our, North Marion's police department now, to really be able to follow up on cases at the school. The children now are gonna be able to see the same officers at the school that will be patrolling their cities. And hopefully parents can see the same type of, connected community. So it's actually a fantastic opportunity. And I agree in terms of the comment that was made about Donald. They definitely are enjoying the service that we're providing. I know quite a few residents over there are quite happy we're there. So with that, well, any other questions from staff towards council on this? Any concerns from you?
No, I have no concerns. I'm excited for the continuity of services that we're gonna be able to provide our community as a whole, especially the youth at our school district and their families. And no, I just think this is a great thing, and I think that Aurora will be a great partner. City of Donald's already expressed their support as well, so I'm excited to move forward.
Fantastic. Anyone want to make a motion? You guys want me to do it again?
You're so good at it.
Good practicing.
Yeah, there we go. I'll go ahead and do this. I'll make a motion that we pass resolution 8272025, a resolution approving the intergovernmental agreement between the city of Hubbard and the city of Aurora for law enforcement services, and authorize the mayor to execute this agreement.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Unanimous. Thank you. Let's move on then, and yet another IGA, discussion and approval of the IGA for Newcom dispatch services. Back over to Chief Parisi and Administrator Wake.
Okay, thank you. The proposed IGA between the city of Hubbard and the city of Newburgh for dispatch services is included in your packet for consideration. We did have a work session last month to discuss some of the technical aspects of how this IGA and these services would work. We wanted to make sure that, the process and the technical aspects were extremely transparent to council as, you know, this is going to be a different process when people dial 911. There is a transfer aspect. So we wanted to make sure that that was brought up. If council approves the IGA, staff will be bringing forward a resolution to transfer funds from the contingency in the general fund into equipment and supplies so that the police department can purchase new radios, as we're not going to be participating in the Marion County radio project. And we do need to upgrade our radios in order to receive dispatch services. So even if we were going with the Marion County radio project, we'd still have to buy new radios. So we're just doing it sooner, like 6 months sooner. So over the past 5 years, Hubbard has contributed $5,600 annually to the Marion County radio project. Since council has determined that the city is not going to be participating in that project, I'm going to be requesting a reimbursement from Metcom of $28,000 that will be used towards the startup of the new contract. So that's all I have as far as the budget. Chief, do you have any additional comments?
No, thank you. I can't think of any other additional comments at this point. I think we pretty well laid it out and covered it and discussed it at the last work session.
Wonderful. We did have a pretty good work session last month, wasn't it? Jeez. With that, let's open it up for discussion for city staff, counselors. So we'll start with Counselor Zadi.
Thank you, Mayor. What I would like to say, I really want to thank Chief Parisi, Administrator White. I really appreciate transparency in government, and I think you two really went out of your way to shine a lot of light on the subject here and to help us nail down what would be the best choice for us. So thank you very much for your time, service.
Okay, Counselor Steiner.
I was actually thinking the exact same thing. These decisions are so much easier because of the communication that we get ahead of time. And it definitely, I don't really have any questions because we've gone through most of this. Will we be able, do you think we're gonna be able to get that reimbursement? Or do we have a contingency if we don't?
So technically, they can't hold on to that money because it is dedicated funding source for the radio project. And since we're not participating legally, they're required to give that back to us. If for some reason turns into some sort of legal issue, we could transfer money out of contingency until we get that reimbursement.
So we do have a backup plan just in case.
Yeah. Mhm.
I just don't like to count on money that's not in hand on stuff like this.
Right, exactly.
Right, sounds good.
Counselor Drummond.
I have no road questions myself. I agree with both the previous counselors and their comments.
Okay, Counselor Bishop.
Well, it's a, it's a good deal, so I'm happy that we're doing.
Yeah, my only comment is, again, my concern is just user experience for the dialer. As long as that experience is the same, because we're going through transfers today as it is.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with it. I'm glad we are, again, fiscally looking at areas that we can save money and spend what we're getting wisely. So I appreciate that. So with that, I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 8312025, a resolution approving the intergovernmental agreement between the city of Hubbard and the city of Newburgh for law enforcement dispatch services.
Just a
Race condition there. I'll let Julie decide who wins. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. 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 Anyone opposed, say nay. That passes unanimously as well. And believe it or not, for people listening, sometimes we don't always pass unanimously. Just saying. Okay, discussion and approval of the Reserve Officer Program. I'm gonna hand this back over to Administrator White and Police Chief Parisi.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Chief Parisi presented the reserve program. I believe it was at the last council meeting, requesting permission to implement the program in the police department. The council asked us to come back with some cost estimates. The cost estimates are included in your packet. While the cost estimates are minimal, And I'll have Chief Parisi talk a little bit more about the program if you'd like. My preference or recommendation would be that, we let our general fund stabilize a little bit. We have a lot of changes that are happening, as far as with some salaries and benefits and staff turnover and stabilizing after paying out vacation and then also just some of the, changes and expenditures that we're gonna see before we get reimbursement for switching to Newcom and bringing on a new officer. I'd really like to wait for a couple months and see how our general fund stabilizes. I do have to say, I got notice from the Marion County Tax Assessor's Office, our estimated, property tax revenue is about 70,000 higher than what I had forecasted, which is great. Doesn't mean we'll get all of that. Sometimes that turns into delinquent tax. But on average, we will probably see about 50,000 more in revenue there, so that's great. But I'd still like to see that property tax revenue come in December, see what that is. Do a solid analysis of the trends that are happening within our general fund. So as I've said, I'm concerned about our insurance rates went up 25%. We did not budget for that increase. We also, our workers' comp went up. Our safe payments are actually gonna go down, so I'm excited about that. The overtime and, sorry, chief, the overtime in the police budget is 88% spent right now. That is because of the shooting that we had, and it's been all hands on deck to solve that case. So there's just many different facets that are happening right now that I really need some time to see some stabilization and do the projections into the end of the fiscal year, considering I'm concerned and we're only one quarter into the fiscal year. So long-winded, I would like to defer until a later date.
Chief Parisi?
Yeah, I can't argue that at all. I mean, it makes total sense. And I support that as well. We want to make sure the time's right.
What are you thinking of a timescale? Are you thinking, because I know, Mr. You and I talked a little bit on this as well. Are you looking at revisiting this in January, or are you looking at around April timeframe when we're pulling together the fiscal year for now, the budget for next year?
So I'll be working on the 5-year financial forecast beginning in late November, early December, which will give me an opportunity to really dig into where I think we're gonna end this fiscal year. So I think I can come back at the January meeting with a recommendation of if we can move forward. We should also see some of those reimbursements for our expenditures. So I think that's where I'm targeting is January.
Yeah, is there any concern from council from postponing this discussion and resolution until January?
No, and I'm looking at the police reserve cost. I came up to that page. And to bring on a reserve officer at $16,589. Is that correct for reserve officer?
Correct.
Okay.
So one thing noted, so there is no workers' comp or insurance or safe expenditures in there. When I talk to them, we get charged when something happens. So if there's an event and the reserve officer gets hurt, that's when we pay some sort of premium or cost.
Yeah, so the risk falls back on the city in a very high risk position.
Mhm.
So I mean, Counselor Steininger, Counselor Zadi, any concern if we postpone this till January?
I think it's a good idea to postpone.
I think based on all of that, and also we've got a lot of great officers in training right now. It'd probably be nice to have them fully trained before we start a new program. So January sounds like a good time to get past the holidays and see where we're at. So
Okay.
Perfect, then we'll go ahead and table this discussion until January. I do appreciate Chief Parisi, your continued work on this and advocacy for it, and Administrator Waite, the same for you as well. I think it is a win-win for us when we can afford it. So hopefully come January, we'll be in a great position. Okay, let's move on to the discussion of the Urban Renewal District Program and associated consult contract. I'm going to hand this back over to Administrator Waite.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Want me to cut on? Yeah, go ahead and cut up my little brief slide deck. I filled it. So for approximately 7 months, staff has been working with a consultant to identify a proposed urban renewal district boundary. This process has included input from community members, the fire district, and Marion County staff. The final report will be presented to the city council in December or January for final consideration. Included in your packet is a contract with Healthy Sustainable Communities totaling $50,000. The original contract scope was to develop the urban renewal plan and associated reports for council's consideration. The proposed amendment expands the scope to include establishment of an urban renewal agency, if approved by council, and facilitation of an economic development committee to identify projects that can be funded by the redirected property tax revenues. Given the stage we are in at this project, I believe this is an appropriate time to discuss the potential fiscal impacts of implementing the district and forming the agency. Hubbard currently lacks financial incentives and infrastructure improvements necessary to encourage development, particularly in the downtown area. While staff has secured funding for water and wastewater system upgrades, opportunities for stormwater infrastructure funding remain limited. The implementation of the Urban Renewal District would provide funding mechanisms for these improvements, as well as other upgrades identified in the table on pages 5 and 6 of the accompanying report of the urban renewal plan that's in your packet. As reflected also in table 3 of that same report, the financial impact during the 5 years of implementation is minimal. However, beginning in year 6, the amount of property tax revenue redirected from the general fund to the Urban Renewal Agency increases substantially, creating a more significant fiscal impact. And I wanted to point out, so I called up this, so this is a graph that I presented during the 5-year financial forecast last fiscal year. And as you can see, the dark green line is the revenues, and then we have our expenditure line, and then beginning fund balance is that bottom line. So we are going to start seeing, so council has made some excellent policy decisions that has really stabilized where our expenditures and revenues are and building up that beginning fund balance, which is critical in case something happens to our wastewater system. We have a catastrophic failure, knock on wood. We have that general fund reserve to dig into to be able to repair that. However, as operational costs continue to increase, our revenues are remaining flat, and especially when it comes to state shared revenues, those are declining. And so the impact to the general fund starts in fiscal year 27, and in fiscal year 28, we start an operating deficit again, even with the abolishment of the director of administration positions and other cost saving measures that we have taken. And so this is where I wanted to have this conversation about the timing of adopting and implementing the Urban Renewal Agency. So I also wanted to talk about, the city had talked about leveraging a loan and using the redirected property tax revenues for funding for downtown, so along 3rd Street and along Highway 99E. However, the current financial analysis indicates that the city will not have financial capacity to issue debt until 2039. So we're about 14 years away from being able to fund some of these projects. However, in the meantime, general fund revenue will continue to decline as the redirection of taxes of the Urban Renewal Agency grows. Over the past, like I said, 2 years, operational policy decisions have stabilized our general fund. With no anticipated vacancies this year, the general fund is projected to experience a shortfall by 27-28, with the gap increasing annually thereafter. While the initial fiscal impact of the urban renewal district is limited, the compounding effects begin in 6 year beyond warrant careful consideration. No decision is required tonight, so you guys have time to discuss it, think about it, ask questions. But I really wanted to bring this forward to council for consideration. And at this time, staff does request council's direction on the proposed amendment to the consultant's contract. So should the council approve the contract for $50,000 to Healthy Sustainable Communities to continue the work? Or would you recommend we hold off on executing that contract until a later date? So I know that's a lot of information, but.
So let me chime in. I mean, I'm in support of what Administrator Wade's saying. I'm a huge supporter of the urban renewal district. I'd love to see it implemented. At this point, though, we are at a fiscal area where I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot with it. I think we need to pause it and wait, especially until maybe we get clear direction or insight that the Bear Creek development will actually kick off. The legwork's already been done, in my opinion. We've got a plan in place. Consultant's got that. We've got an idea what the district needs to look like. I think if we needed to, we can turn it on within a few months, in all honesty. And I think we need to wait until we see when that development's gonna start. Right now, we've got, some development that we know about, but nothing to the extent that we need to support this type of an effort. So, I mean, I'm in support with tabling it until a later date to be determined, based off of potential development of the Bear Creek area. That would be my thoughts. Discussion though, amongst everyone else. We'll start on this side. Councilor Pichelle.
Well, after going through the budget, sorry about my voice, Doug's game.
Right.
I
understand.
After going through the, the budget stuff we did, back in the spring, and looking at, future revenues that are forecast and future expenditures, and when you read in the news that PERS is going way up and insurance costs are going way up and everything's going way up. $50,000, it doesn't sound like a ton of money, but it's the bigger impact of sort of cutting off that increase in revenue at a certain level and then not ever seeing it, for however long, the 15 to 30 years. That's really troubling. So I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was definitely thinking about that. And I agree with the mayor that, putting this aside for a while, I don't know how long, but a while, it's probably.
TBD.
Yeah, just open-ended, yeah.
Okay, Councilor Yonley.
Yeah. It's sound like a really good deal. Issuing debt and developing our downtown core area, improving sidewalks, our sewer and water, or storm drainage, that type of stuff, access. It all sounds great, but in light of 14 years before we can issue any debt to start developing that's a while down the road, and we do have these increase in costs over the next few years. Ongoing. Hopefully, they don't continue to be as large as they have been just more recently. Bear Creek development, I don't know how close we are. It's still sitting down there waiting for somebody to develop it, although it's, we were expecting it to kick off, and nobody's found the right financial economic benefit doing that. So yes, I believe pausing, putting on a hold for now is a very good idea.
Councilor Stinger.
Is there any downside to putting it off? Like, could it potentially cost us a lot more in the future if we try to restart it? Or because of where we're at, is it sort of it's gonna be 50,000 now, or it's gonna be 50,000 in 5 years kind of?
Well, actually, so, depending on what happens with the city and growth and other. This is actually some work that somebody in my position or finance director position could take on. If there was other staff to offload some of the other work, so, the 50,000 paying the consultant is really because I don't have capacity to do the work associated with the next steps of developing the urban renewal agency, putting together the, economic team that's gonna look at the projects and prioritize the projects and bring it to, it would be the urban renewal agency board, which would be council. You just have a different title for those meetings. So that's where that 50,000 is going or would go. So as far as increased costs, I think you could save money down the road.
Okay. I mean, I'd rather put the 50,000 towards like an assistant type position, if that were to work better anyway. I think we'd get more value out of it for the city. So I'm totally fine putting this on hold for now.
Councilor Zadi?
I really appreciate all the work done to get us to this point, but I really think I agree with everyone else and you that we should wait. I think, there's still some other financial hurdles coming up this year for a lot of people. While we're in a good situation, that can change. It's changed for other cities in this country. So I think waiting will be a smart and a good idea.
Okay, and I think with pausing it, you also have the consensus on the answer for the amendment to the contract. At this point in time, just let the contract expire.
Mhm.
And I will put it on hold. Okay, if there's no other discussion, we'll just keep moving on. Next agenda topic is appearance of interested citizens as opposed to uninterested citizens. Jeez, all right. No one online either, so we'll just move on. Okay, mayor and or council presentations. From the mayor's side, I would like to extend my gratitude towards Administrator Waite and our city staff for planning this year's trunk or treat. For those of the council that don't know, we're gonna do trunk or treat for about an hour and a half and then pack up and go to the track to do track or treat or whatever they're calling it, field or treat, I'm not sure. Again, I'm gonna participate in it. I know we have some city individuals gonna be participating in it. And if anyone on council wants to participate, just let Administrator Waite know. You know, it's fun. Maybe it won't rain this year on us. It will. Part of the fun. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
He wasn't there. Oh, he was.
Yeah, I was there with my daughter.
Yeah, it was wet and rainy. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much, I mean, all I've got off the top of my head. I guess, again, appreciation. I was not at homecoming last week because I had a church event to attend, but I got to hear and see the pictures and so forth. It was absolutely fantastic to see the police department so well represented there. The kids engaging with the officers, you guys leading the cars onto the, I mean, it was just really cool. So well done on that. And I appreciation, just as I mentioned, Chief Garmin to our first responders here and the police department. Fantastic. Counselors, any additional presentation or updates you have or might want to mention? Counselor Zadi?
No, it's fine. No biggie.
Counselor Stein?
I don't have any today.
Counselor Young?
I do not, thank you.
Counselor Michelle?
Nope.
Nothing. No, one of these days I'm gonna like do it like this. and go over that.
Jump around.
All right, with that, we'll move on to city administrator report. We'll start with Administrator Waite.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. The city budget is 45% through the fiscal year. And there's several trends that have been identified. Some of those we've already talked about this evening. So salary and benefits are inflated, but should stabilize over the next couple months because of departures of staff. As stated, the police department's overtime budget is 88% spent. You will notice a line item in the administration budget. Equipment and supplies had a significant expenditure last month that's associated with 2 new laptops that were purchased in compliance. In compliance with Counselor Young. It was in compliance with our computer replacement schedule, so we don't anticipate seeing another large expenditure like that for the remainder of the year. I wanted to point out one thing that we've decided to do, the grant funds that we had identified during the budget development process to pay for a part-time position in Public Works to help with grant management and reporting. We have decided collectively, Steve doesn't know, we decided this.
Royally.
We are going to be not filling that position. I'm gonna be taking over all the financial pieces and working with Steve to reconcile everything, and all that funding is gonna go back into the project. So you're not gonna see any expenditures there. I talked to the auditors about how he wants me to handle it since we have budgeted transfers. He doesn't think I need to go ahead and do a supplemental budget, but I'm gonna wait and see how things kind of look in January when I do that final analysis. So more to come on that. Additionally, there's in my report, I mentioned a couple of items that are on the consent agenda that I wanted to explain. So first, the labor law services transition. Barry Elsner and Hammond will be discontinuing labor law services effective January 1, 2026. Following a procurement process, staff identified the local government law group. They focus mainly on small city governments. Had a conversation with the city of Silverton. They use this law group. They love working with them. The city rarely has to use labor law. So this is really in association with working with the union. So in this case, the police union. Last time we had to negotiate the police union contract, we did not have attorneys involved on either side. We were able just to negotiate with the union president. It went very well. Don't anticipate any issues with the next union negotiation. So that's just kind of an overview. So that is in the consent agenda. Also in your consent agenda is the Public Works Superintendent position description. We had originally updated the position description when Miss Olinger took the job. I have revised it to include back some of the certification requirements that were in there before. However, with that said, I do ask that council consider approving that position description, but also approve that I do not move forward with hiring a department head or starting a recruitment process for a few months. Steve has done a great job in stabilizing the team out there. We're working together to make sure that the water projects are on track, that the wastewater projects on track, that funding is identified and everything is running smooth. I would like to continue that continuity until we can feel like we're in a really good spot to bring somebody new in and not scare them. So I'm thinking after the first of the year, we would start a recruitment process. And then one final note, my performance evaluation is due at the end of December. So I wanted council to advise how you wanted to proceed with the evaluation process and anything I can do to support that.
I think on the evaluation one, real quick, I'll work with Julie. Let's schedule an early December, if that works,
Okay.
special session. I will use the exact same process we used last year. The only difference is on the feedback forms, I will do what the school district did last year for their superintendent, which was fantastic. Microsoft Forms, it's an online evaluation. People can submit their answers. I get them all electronically then. It can be very unanimous then. And from there, I can build a report, bring it in, and we can have a review if that works for everyone else. So I'll work with Julie. We'll find a time if that works in early December.
Okay.
I mean, it's not gonna be a surprise. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I want a closed session.
Now you sure? Now we're gonna have to have you leave the room.
Talk to Julie.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, I think from the evaluation side, I'll work with Julie. We'll get something on the calendar as soon as possible for early December. And I'll start the process for, in November, mid-November, I'll send out the form to start gathering feedback. If it's okay with Administrator White, I'll probably ask, obviously, the department heads, the one that's left and our intern for feedback, and I'll include anyone else you'd like me to include as well.
Actually, anyone.
Yeah.
The
Well,
whole
obviously,
staff.
council, council and Julie and.
Well, even line staff, I would be happy to get feedback from them.
Sure.
Because
Send it out to everyone.
perfect.
Maybe not the entire city, but every.
I'll give you a list.
City
of
employees.
emails.
City employees of the city.
No.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Wade, anything additional on your report out?
No, that is it. Thank you.
Uh,
Oh, wait, sorry, Julie does have something.
Just one thing, I just wanna let you guys know that we'll have 2 planning positions open. So I'm not sure, I have not heard back from the 2 that will be,
Who's expiring?
it's Brad Agnew and Mark Young. And I have sent them, letting them know, but I haven't heard back from them yet.
Okay,
So just to kind of put that on your radar.
Is that at the end of the year?
Yes. Yeah, the positions, let's see, we'll be appointed December 31st. There'll be 2 open positions for appointment with the term ending December 2028. So, if we could get, anyone knows of anyone, have them send applications my way no later than November 30th.
okay. Let's put our feelers out, see if we can find some good candidates that would love to sit on a planning commission that meets at least 50% of the time. That's not Jonathan's idea. I only need about 50.
We're doing it in 3 hours.
Okay, any questions for Administrator Wade while we're on this report out, and we'll start over with Councilor Michelle.
No,
Councilor Gama,
I don't have any questions.
Councilor Banger,
No, I don't have any questions.
Councilor Zadi.
No questions, but a big thank you.
All right, let's move on to Police Department, then Chief Parisi.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. September was a great month, as we embraced the new season as well. We're into the fall, and it's been just a really nice change. We have, a new officer, training update between Officer Yakis and Officer Bob. So Officer Yakis just completed field training, so he is officially solo now and, enjoying that, loving the swing shift. And Officer Bob just completed his orientation phase of training and is now on the road with Officer Marshall in phase 1 and doing quite well. So that's exciting. I mentioned the position that just went into background as well, so that's great there. September, we had a lot of fun engaging with the community again, as the mayor mentioned. We participated in the North Marion Back to School Night for the primary and intermediate schools. Always love the popsicles that they cater. And I actually got one this year. I actually got 2. Last year I didn't get any, and then this year I received 2, so it was great. I hit the spot as it was pretty warm. So that was a lot of fun. Though we were just passing out tons of stickers and showing off our great patrol cars, and the kids and parents really enjoyed that. Taking lots of pictures as well, which was fun. As always, it's just never ceases to amaze me on how many people just want a picture with their local law enforcement officers, and so that's always near and dear to our heart. So we enjoy that. We also had 2 weeks in a row of attending North Marion High School football games, which is always fun and really strengthens our relationships with the students and the staff and the parents as well and stuff. We just love hanging out at the concession stand, the Booster Club there. They just do an amazing job with that, with all the food and stuff. So we had an active month as well with training. I actually got to attend the Fall Chiefs Conference, which is local. Every September, it's there at the Academy for 2 days. So it was really great to reconnect with a lot of different law enforcement leaders from across the state and just network there. Officer Marshall attended the Major Crimes Conference, which was sponsored by the Oregon Homicide Investigators Association. It's a professional gathering of investigators and command staff prosecutors, public safety leaders from across the region and state. So that conference really focuses on the most serious of serious complex type cases, which is really good for them, including homicides, officer involved incidents, human trafficking, things of that nature as well. So he also attended some leadership training last month too. And then our executive assistant, Molly Schwartz, she actually got to hone some of her skills as she went to continue education in evidence collection training. And that's, she really enjoyed that as well. So, let's see here. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, Sergeant Anderson and Molly also recertified in CPR first aid training, so they're good to go. Especially Sergeant Anderson for the, meeting his certificate and whatnot. So with that, any questions? Happy to answer.
Any questions for Chief Parisi, Counselor Zahn?
No questions. I do want to comment though that I've been seeing a lot more posts from the police department on Facebook. They're great. Really good to see smiling people and a well-dressed police force. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Counselor Stein?
I'm glad to hear you had stickers at this event. Last time,
Blackers are forgotten, yeah.
last time I went on a ride along with you, we got a lot of hate from poor children that couldn't get stickers, so that was good to hear. And I was shocked at how many times I've had pictures taken with you at different places, like, yeah, people do like to take your picture. It was really great. The community obviously is able to just come up and interact, and I love the fact that you guys are all out there making the effort to build relationships, and it's been really fun to see and just experience. So keep up the stickers.
It's a whole new line item in the police budget.
It really is, Mary. You are not kidding.
Counselor Yon, like,
I have nothing other than thank you very much for your service and the fine department and your officer you have.
Counselor Michelle?
No questions, but thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you all
I
very
stuck
much.
in everyone's saying, thank you.
It's our pleasure. I just want to say as well, and give so much credit to the team. We have such a great group of individuals that just have a heart of service, and they're just having the time of their lives, and they're really, really happy to be doing, serving here as well with our department. So, yeah, I'll pass that along.
Well, I think it's fantastic when you step back 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when we were begging for officers to come in, putting them through training. Now hearing that there's literally a line of individuals certified, or certifiable apparently, that would be willing to come and join our police department. It shows the professionalism, the accreditation, the leadership. It's paying off, and I appreciate that. All right, yeah. It's just thinking, here we approved an IGA for Aurora, and like literally 7.5 years ago, we were down to 2 officers and Sergeant Parisi as our interim chief, thinking, how are we gonna pull this back? And fantastic job. Thank you. Okay, Public Works.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, councilors. So I mentioned that the last 3 weeks have been like drinking from a fire hose with all the information. Actually, this last week, it's a kind of, I don't feel as much pain anymore. But there is a lot to understand, and a lot of things to understand have to do with past decisions, as you well know, and Public Works has been siloed over on the other side of town for a long time. So I'm trying very hard to alter that cadence, if you will, with staff. And I think we've been making some very good progress towards doing things differently. The quote about doing the same thing over and over again each time, expecting a different result, is often that of Public Works everywhere, not just in Hubbard. You get locked into doing things a certain way with a certain amount of money, and you don't think you can change. You don't think you can do those things, but you can. And we talked about that at the last session about preventative maintenance, about ensuring that we understand the value of money, and particularly in terms of what it costs now to do something versus what it will cost us if we defer this for another 2 or 3 years, because we think that we can get away with putting Band-Aids on it for that long. That is a cultural change in Public Works, but I believe progress just in the last few weeks have been made towards looking at our entire systems differently, than we have in the past. This new project that we're having, with, our water system and wastewater are helping propel that. But at the same time, we're making some decisions. In particular, do we have to repair a roof? Okay, well, we know now, I've been up there with, Bill, and I now know why the roof leaks. So the question is, we can continue slathering on roof stuff on there and keep the leak out? Or is it really just more of a simple, let's get a sheet metal person to put the sheet metal on right this time? And does that have to be part of a project at prevailing wage? So we can maybe look at this a little bit differently and save the city money at the same time, get the results that we're after, and take care of it that way. The other part of it is that I noticed that a lot of work was siloed into, it just bottlenecked into one person. And people, when I asked folks, okay, take care of something actually quite simple. Well, I don't know. We just gave it to this person and that person gave it to that person, and I don't know how to do it. So now I'm empowering people to take on the position, the jobs that they have been doing, but giving them the opportunities to make that happen in a way that still has oversight, but at the same time, they're empowered to make sure that things get done and they learn from it. So now you don't have one person that has to have the thumb on everything. You now have people that are working together to make sure that things get done. That's how you get an effective public works team together. They can fill in for each other and do all the things that Hubbard needs to have happen with that. Moving on to Civil West, they have taken the water system changes and given it to OHA. They're doing their engineering review, and that's a requirement. In the meantime, City Administrator Waite, myself, and the Civil West team are looking at how we can, I won't say value engineer, that's kind of a funny term, almost an oxymoron. But we're looking at what can we do, what does not have to happen right now, what do we need to put in place to make sure that if Bear Creek, for instance, gets developed, we're ready to go. But Bear Creek has SDCs. Why shouldn't they be paying for their upgrades, as an example, using SDC fees? Why are we paying? Why are we asking the city of Hubbard, the citizens, to pay for that now? So that's what we're doing right at the moment with Civil West, and we'll do the same thing with the wastewater process too, since that is also getting underway. And asking other questions, like we know we want to put we have a collapsed well that the casings gave out at the bottom end. But one of the things that we thought about is, well, we have some property we can purchase. That may not, it's not a bad idea. The city does not have a lot of property of its own to put a well or anything else in. But OHA wants us to jump through the 23 hoops of OHA to make sure that gets done. A question this morning was, well, if you abandon the well that really can't be fixed easily, well, it would be terribly expensive to try and fix it. But if you go through the OAR abandonment processes, as an example, and seal the well and drill next to it, now you're in the same aquifer, you cross off a lot of things that OHA is asking us to look at for the property across the street. At the same time, you're minimizing risk to the city. And so those are some of the things now that we're looking at holistically on how we can make things work for Hubbard now, and also make sure we have everything in place at minimal or no cost to Hubbard moving forward. So that's working very closely with the city administrator to make that happen as we go through this. Yes, please.
And also, so great points that Steve is making. Also, we're gonna be providing a very detailed overview about the water project, where we're at, the budget, what things have been completed already, what we have left to do, what budget we've spent, what we haven't spent, what funding sources we've used, so that council is fully aware and everything is transparent as far as what's going on with this project. There's been a lot of surprises that have come to our attention in the last 4 weeks. And today was another one.
Right.
But we're working through those, and so we really want to make sure that council has confidence that we can get this project back on track, that we're in compliance and moving things forward. So that will happen with Steve, myself, and Civil West providing a presentation.
That's December, right?
Mhm.
December. So, moving, now going directly into the next part is while we're working on these major projects and discovering what preventive maintenance does or does not do, I've expanded this now into all of our equipment in public works, not just the things that are being replaced under our grants. And that I will be providing you a presentation, overall presentation, plus what it is we're doing, the equipment, schedules, and includes things like mowing too, so that everyone knows what that is. Some of this can actually be published so that folks know when we are actually out there doing things. And at the same time, this starts fitting in with the city administrator's 5-year plan and our next budget cycle. Because preventive maintenance does cost something. It's not free, but it does, in the long run, stabilize your plan. So you're not always going out for new loans and grants and bonds every 10 to 15 years, which is, see, again, that's what cities do. You let it go because it's brand new, and then you get hit, as you are now, with surprises. And we want to minimize that. That is key for your economic stability and growth as a city. So that, in addition, I have a new project management activity that I've been working on with staff. This will also be a presentation to you. This will replace what you have had as a dashboard, but this is a little bit more interactive. It does have nice charts and graphs in it. See the mayor smiles.
I love charts.
But it does, I like dashboards. They give you a big overall picture of where you're at. It also gives staff an idea of where they're at. Because right now, a lot of people are doing a lot of things, just not together. And I mean, one person's doing great stuff, person's doing great stuff, but no one's doing great stuff together. And that's what I'm trying to fix. And this is part of the management tool to help everyone understand, including the council and citizens, what Public Works is doing with your money and assets. And last, and I said certainly not least, OHA never wants to be considered least. We have a water survey. This is actually, they call it a water survey, but it's really AKA inspection of our water system this Thursday morning. They go through and check and make sure that we're doing everything the way we're supposed to. So I've been working with Mike to ensure that we have at least found all the paperwork and books and manuals and all the things that OHA looks at when they come to these inspections. It's not hard, but often they will always find something. They always do. That's their job. But hopefully nothing major, something that can be easily corrected within 30 days and sent back to them saying, yeah, we took care of it. So that's the day after tomorrow at 9:30. Are there any questions? Be happy to entertain. I've learned a little bit more since the last time we talked, so.
I'm just happy to hear what I'm hearing. Preventive maintenance being number one, getting the ship righted. So we're not gonna founder. The little things like that do add up very quickly in the long run. I agree, preventive maintenance does cost something, but it's a lot cheaper to fix something and keep it in working order than to deal with a belt that causes a fire, then you have to replace a pump or something. Like your writing style too, it's different than everyone else's, so it's great, least, but I saw that in there. It's like, I was gonna say that too. I appreciate the effort you and Administrator Wade have put into uncovering the wastewater treatment plant financials, water delivery financials, etc. I'm looking forward to December to seeing how we can overcome the challenges that we face on that one. But from at least the chat that I had with Administrator Wade today, we're in a much better place now than we were 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So again, and that's the transparency that we see coming out of Public Works now via Sean, etc., is very refreshing to see that. So glad you're here.
Thank you.
Sat as an intern
Happy to be
position.
here.
Okay, open it for discussion, Counselor Pichelle.
No questions, but, I know how hard it is to jump into a situation like you've jumped into, especially given the circumstances, and, I commend you for, being willing, and certainly your competence, shines through very well, and I really enjoyed getting to spend some time with you, Mike, last week.
Yeah.
The wastewater plant, that was a lot of fun.
It was, each time I go out with Mike and the staff, I worked with Juan this week on water plant and labs and how they do things, so.
The guys down at work were amazed at the pumps, that they were still running. I put it on our LinkedIn page as a testament to how long our pumps are still in operation, so that was pretty cool. The guys, they really got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
You got to take a crappy tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, Counselor Young.
Yeah, and it's great having a whole, set of fresh eyes and somebody that's been in the business for quite a while. Just a couple of concerns that developed a while back. And I'm sure you're working with this the water project, stuff like that. Is our water pressure at the far ends of the city right now. And just barely meeting the minimum standards, and so that's why we're doing this, the water upgrade. Along with that, the sewer upgrade was kind of an add-on thing, but I guess it was needed because we're reaching close to capacity, and with Bear Creek coming on, we wanted to make sure we'd have that capacity. And I do understand SDCs, and they come in to help pay for that type of stuff too, so. And I'm sure you're all looking at, what the costs are and things like that, so. There's, some of those areas we might be able to say, well, let's hold off and, and get these SDCs in and fix, or do this development at that time. And I'm sure these are things you're gonna look at.
You bet.
But yeah, I'm glad you're here. You're, gonna have more coordination over there on staff members. Trying to put my 2 cents in with the last couple of superintendents to say, you have staff, let's get them together and do things, and I'm glad we have somebody that has had management experience at doing that. So thank you.
You're welcome, and it does work. Yeah.
That's what I have.
Okay, Counselor Stein.
I just have one concern still. Is there a way when they're going around and doing the water meters that they can have just a cheap vest that says Public Works? I was glad to see they were wearing reflective gear when they're out, but again, it's just the same hoodie that anybody can buy, and then they have to access yards to do the water meters, so if they could at least be identified as Public Works. I think that would
Absolutely,
be-
and Counselor, that is actually a state requirement, that's an OAR. So this next week, we have our first group safety meeting that we had in a while just for Public Works. And PPE will be on that, and I'm going to make sure everyone needs to have at least, when they have the safety vest, there's usually we get ones that have the plastic pockets. We have an identification card that goes in there identifying who you are with a picture.
Yeah.
And where you belong to. The other part of it is that all of our gear needs to reflected that we are covered Public Works. And that I also boots, hard hats, eye protection, all those things. And right now I just wrote the lotto procedure, that's lockout, tag out. So for electrical things, we'll have locks for that and go through that procedure. And a number of things. And Molly's been very, King has been extremely helpful. She's been to training, and I've been working with her to gear up for this and help her understand what that means in terms of making sure that that is ordered in place and people are wearing it and are properly identified. That's an excellent point, and that is high on my agenda. Safety is a very high topic. In this group, I've been working quickly but carefully to make sure that everyone understands that this is incredibly important. I want them to go home with all their, I want them to go home intact. The city wants them to come back intact, so.
I know the public works guys, but I'm not sure that everybody would.
Nope,
And again, I didn't see the front. I don't know if he had a name tag on, but I couldn't see anything from the back at least.
it
that
should
said-
say
Yeah.
City of Hubbard Public Works.
It definitely would be good to be wearing that when they're in people's drives.
Thank you, yes.
Counselor Zadi.
I really have, no concerns other than water pressure, but I won't beat you up on that yet.
Okay. The skid is ordered and I know it's coming. I just looked at the money and checked on the status, so, we're actually looking at the water plant, I'm doing a walkthrough to see exactly how we're gonna get everything in and what's required. That hasn't been looked at yet, in depth, but I wanna make sure that skid goes and what the process is to remove the existing booster pumps, and the skid has all the pumps on it. That's why they call it skid. So we're gonna put that in place, and I'm also reviewing the numbers on the pumps. To make sure that, and review that with Matt. I know his group does a great job with this. I just wanna make sure that it does in fact give pressure to the endpoints, because that's how we're gonna be evaluated. Doesn't matter how cool everything is. The toilets flush, great. Water comes out of the sink with some pressure, great, and no one will give one extra thought to it. But if it isn't, to your point, yes.
Also wanted to add that, thank you very much for coming in here, taking over that department and moving things forward. Sat here listening to your report and you mentioned things like teamwork. It's also in this. You mentioned safety, finances and planning. I'm blown away. Thank you. And we're great.
Harley, welcome. It's a pleasure to work for Hubbard. You guys are great.
Super nice.
We tried. All right, I can't second any more than what they've already said, so it's excellent to have you on board. There's no other discussions, let's move on, consent agenda. I'll read it. First one's approval of September 30th, 2025 city council minutes. B, approval of the September 2025 check registry report. C, approve the engagement letter and billing procedure memorandum for labor law attorney services with local government law group, and authorize city administrator Waite to execute the documents. Resolution 829-2025, approve the resolution adopting the public works superintendent job description and direct city administrator Sean Waite to initiate the recruiting process as discussed during our time. And then E, or 13E or whatever, it's actually on the agenda. So this is 13E. Oh, is this consent agenda?
Consent agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Approve the intergovernmental agreement for Marion County to continue to operate and maintain the ballot drop box at Hubbard City Hall and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, well, actually, we need a motion and a second.
Oh, you thought that was a motion, I'm sorry. No, I move that we approve the consent agenda as stated by the mayor.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, consent agenda carries. Wondering on 13E, if we didn't approve it, would they actually come out and rip the box out? Or-
They would have to, yeah.
That would be a nightmare.
So to clarify too, that's gonna be a DocuSign, so they'll send that to your email.
Okay, then I need to keep an eye on my city. No, I'm assuming. Yeah, well, I'm checking all the time. That's just, I don't always check the other one. Okay, with that, any other city business? If there's no other city business, next is to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed that want to stay here, say nay. All right, we're done. Thank you.